this year we had the desire to expand the programming. For anybody who's been to the festival before, last year we had a phenomenal year, our 10th anniversary, where Jay-Z came out with Jay Electronica, J. Cole, Kweli, Raekwon. It was a great year for us, and a lot of people asked, well, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna get bigger and bigger and have a bigger final concert? And we decided it'd be better to use that capital and go wide. So we're gonna be talking about two basic things: the Black Lives Matter protests and criminal justice reform, and then on the other side about technology, entrepreneurship, and sort of economic empowerment. My name is Wes Jackson. I'm the executive director and founder of the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival, and we're here at Medgar Evers College, right in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. The Hip Hop Institute is an idea that I've been cooking up for a couple of years now, and it's really like a whole, we've done a lot of educational programming along with the concerts and the music, so we wanted to put it all under one umbrella, and that's the Hip Hop Institute. The ultimate idea is, in the next 10 to 15 years, is to have a physical building, a physical actual institute. So whether you're a fan, you don't know anything, and you want to kind of come and get a little piece, or professional development, the goal is to have the institute be that physical and digital place. So we're really trying to put that idea out into the universe today.
I read a book called Rework, and it's a book, I encourage everyone to read it. It's 200 pages. I'm a slow reader. It took me 2 hours to read because 100 pages of it are pictures. You know, it's not a children's book, but it drops jewels. And Mark Cuban said, look, if I had the chance of hiring someone who read Rework versus a Harvard MBA, I would hire the person who read Rework. And one of the things it said is, don't quit your day job. You know, 2 years into BET, although I was having a great time, I knew what I wanted to do and I was ready to quit. But it said, use your day job as your funding for your venture. And I think that's an important thing for us, especially entrepreneurs of color, to realize, is that we have to go about funding in less conventional ways than others a lot of times. We don't have the same access to capital and resources that others may have. So, you know, pour your day job money into invest in yourself. Another thing I learned both from, you know, being at MTV and seeing people who were at companies buying companies that their friends were invested in through VCs. And then when those guys cashed out, they would go to companies and flip it and have their friends get out to the VCs and buy their companies. Is that it's a very insular group. You know, it's almost cartelish in terms of the way that these things are structured. And unfortunately for us, a lot of us are not in the rooms to even have the conversations to get the exposure to get that capital. And when we are, we haven't necessarily been given the language or the presentation in order to secure the capital. So the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival, as you know, has been around for many years, and I'm really happy to see them extend their brand beyond just the festival part into a conference. Because I believe that hip hop is a lifestyle that can influence people in a number of ways. And it started off as a very positive influence. There's still very positive things happening. And now it's an opportunity to really talk to people about issues that are germane to their lifestyle. So these things, these tragedies like the death of Eric Garner and no conviction for it, and the death of Michael Brown and no convictions for it. These are happening, and the church in South Carolina. These are things that are happening to people that stand beside us every single day in our community. Many of us have families that are directly impacted for it. Hip hop started off as a platform for the community to get messaging out, to galvanize people to act. And I think it's important for us to keep that message going.
I want to start with Brandon because I think what he sort of failed to mention is that he was the quarterback on De La Soul's record-breaking Kickstarter. That is it the second biggest, Brandon, ever? Second biggest funded project on the crowdfunding source, Kickstarter. So music, right? Yes. How did they just sort of step to it?
It was about ownership. I don't know if everybody knows, but in the music industry, when artists, in the music industry, when artists have record deals like, I don't know, A$AP Rocky, Drake, anybody, when they have record deals, they don't own the product that they make. They make the product, and then the company they sign to actually owns the product, which is called masters. And masters are very, very valuable, like extremely valuable. They're not just valuable from the time that you create it and an album's actually released. It's valuable 50 years from now. Masters are, that's everything. That's the gold. And De La, in the past, they've had record deals and they didn't turn out so well. We don't have ownership of our masters. We can't control what we do with our art. So with using Kickstarter and actually crowdfunding, it enabled us to actually own our art. To actually, I mean, it sounds funny because you think as an artist, like, you make the song, you own the art, but you don't. You make the art and somebody else owns your product. So when we made a decision to actually crowdfund the album, it was based on having enough money to actually create the art. Creating art, it's expensive, especially good art. Good art can cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And through the crowdfunding process, it enabled us not to take money from another company. It let us take money from our fans, and fans basically just pre-ordered our product.
People want this, and I have to say, of all of the events that we're doing this week, this day, today, the Hip Hop Institute is the event that sold out first. I think that the combination of education, music, community involvement, that's the next level, that's the next plane.
So the issue of ownership in our circle at Combs Enterprises, it's a fundamental part of the culture of the organization. From the top down, the expectation is that you come into the organization and you can pretty much take care of business independently for the most part. So from Mr. Combs down, there's the spirit of entrepreneurship and this expectation that you can get things done and create something out of nothing. So it's pretty much the culture of our organization. If you think about Mr. Combs' career, he started as an intern, traveling from DC to New York to be an intern. Even myself, I started at Combs Enterprises as an intern 12 years ago, and I had to work my way up in a very entrepreneurial way. In fact, in 2013, I, on my own initiative, started to bring in new business for the organization. So it's something that is an inherent part of the corporate culture at Combs Enterprises.
Right. So we have this separation. You have the spirit of entrepreneurship, De La, Diddy, but we have this gap. And maybe, Chad, maybe just starting with you, why is there this sort of, maybe what does the data maybe show us about why we have this gap between we're so much on the consumer side and so little on the producer side? I don't know if this is something that you guys look at or you sort of analyze up at Nielsen.
For hip hop, primarily, we know that most people that are consuming it the main consumer are males that are Hispanic, African American, ages 18 to 24. We know that they spend about 30% or so more on music than anybody else in the country. And so one of the things that at least I notice about it is that music is a part of our culture, just African American culture in general. Two, we consume it obviously at larger rates that are probably disproportionate to others. I don't know that we necessarily know why, but I think understanding that I think is what brings us here today, so we can talk about ways in which we can use data to make more conscientious decisions about what we're actually producing, how we're going to distribute it, and then three, how can we make revenue from that? So I think we shift the conversation maybe not necessarily from a why, but what, and then how do we change that?
Right.
Again, I'm extremely pleased to see Wes expanding his voice to make it beyond just a great day, because the Hip Hop Festival is a great day. It's a family day. You can come out, be entertained, but to actually make it about empowerment and involve the community and spread his message in a deeper way, I think is a phenomenal thing. And so for us as people who have a media platform, to not speak out against these things and engage people and keep the conversation going, I think is a disservice and really actually fundamentally against what hip-hop is about.
Hip-hop is entrepreneurship, because it's all about turning nothing into something, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, right? That's what Tupac said. We're entrepreneurs and trying to do that. So what we try to encourage and what we're trying to do is definitely, like, if you look at the data points he just mentioned, how do we grab the interest of people our age or millennials, young African Americans, Latinos, and get them interested in building startups? And the only way to do that, in our opinion, is to use hip hop. And it's not like a lot of people think, oh, we're cutting and pasting hip hop on top of something. No, hip hop is entrepreneurship. This is not cut and paste. It's just more like making people realize that you've had this spirit inside you. Now just apply it to something else.
I'm just proud of the people that we can bring together. People who might not have gotten together otherwise, but when they get here, you see how we're all kind of similar. We're all trying to build something. And now that we know each other and we're here together, we can do it better.
Let's go do it. If I can do it, you know, if Aubrey can do it, if Brandon can do it, if Reggie can do it, if Fred can do it, it can be done. They've tricked you for a long time thinking that you're not allowed to be a TV producer or an entrepreneur, and it's a lie. And it's time to expose the lie, and let's get to work and take control of our own culture and our own community. I'm super optimistic, can't you tell? Look at, I'm smiling. This is a great place.
Well, that's gonna be you now.
Who's that? On time. I'll take that, I'll take it. Cool, all right.